Folks, good evening. Welcome to the Lads Call. It is a very special Lads Call today. I have two honorary lads, if you'd like to put it that way. I am joined by Stuart Kronauge, the Global CEO of Juice Plus, and I'm joined also by Celine, Egan, the CEO of Australia and New Zealand, also known as my better half. Good evening, folks. How are we? Going well?
Yeah, I think it's great. And Celine, congratulations on the new posting. I'm quite excited about that.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be able to be working with an amazing team here, and then of course globally. And I'm very excited to be working with you, Stuart.
Yes, me too. Ditto.
Okay, so folks, these two are super powered women. They're smart, they're intelligent, they're hardworking, and I'm delighted to get them on this evening. But what we don't know about either of them, or mainly you don't know anything about them. So what I get to do, Stuart and Celine, just give me a 3 to 4 year summation of where you've been and how you got to where you are in your careers right now. And then we roll into some questions that we got in over the past couple of weeks. Stuart, fire ahead.
Can we go first? Okay. So I have had sort of an indirect path to now, as I call it. So I'm a classically trained brand marketer, consumer products goods. I was at Coca-Cola for over 2 decades. So I started when I was 12. We're not going to talk about age, as you guys know. That is a no-no. From there, I left the corporate world and went on a great adventure in California with a hot plant-based startup called Beyond Meat. It was super fun, dynamic. It was almost run like a technology company, very different from a company at Coke that was over 130 years old. And then Juice Plus came knocking on my door. I didn't answer the door twice. I actually said, no, go away once, and didn't answer it twice. But after doing some homework and some friends in the business, one of which was a partner who's close to me, I took another look at it. I met Jay Martin, came to Collierville, and the rest is history. So Juice Plus is kind of like a perfect marriage of my history of, longevity of a company, established great products, great brand with an entrepreneurial spirit. And so here I am. So I'm about a year in. So I'm so glad to be here.
Well done. Certainly you've made an impact, and it's all been for the positive. So very well done in your first 12 months.
Oh, thank you.
Young Celine, your journey.
I like the young part because yes, the career has gone quite quickly. So I suppose I started my career when we landed in Australia in merchant banking. Never saw myself in sales per se, but I had dabbled in direct sales back in Ireland to help me overcome my shyness. And I'm an introvert. I was actually quite shy. People say to me that's not possible, but still am in a lot of circumstances. And so I actually kind of made that little foray into direct sales purely around that personal growth. And I'm forever grateful to that initial start there, because it actually gave me the confidence to be able to try other things. Entrepreneurial spirit that really came to play when I was in merchant banking, and I could see that actually, I wanted a little bit more control of my own destiny. When you're a hard worker and you see other people around you and you kind of go, okay, I really want to have more control. And so anyhow, it was kind of fast forward. We ended up having 2 children in close succession to one another, 18 months apart. And it was actually then that I really realized the gift that was direct selling. I really realized that because we were back at work when they were both only 3 months old. And so I realized that I didn't have any control over what we were going to do as a family. And so my friend actually said to me, you do realize you've got a gift there in direct sales. And I didn't really see it. First of all, I thought, what would people think, seeing as I would be leaving a real profession for something that, people still looked a little bit warily on. And I also was wondering, could I do it? But having the awesome support of my beautiful husband made that foray into it. And so, and never looked back. My journey since then has really been in the direct selling field in one way or another. And so built through the field to the highest levels in the company that we were in, got offered a lot of opportunities to be able to take over regions and things like that, which kind of gave me then a little taste of what it was like from a corporate perspective as well. And so my real passion is marrying the amazing power that's in the field, those people that are on the coalface day in, day out, who really know what's kind of going on, with the magic that we get to create from a corporate perspective, and being able to kind of marry that. So it's a really beautiful marriage to make sure that we're all successful, because, you know, when one wins, the other wins, and so that's kind of where it kind of went. I started consulting to a number of different direct selling companies then when myself and Mick retired out of Tupperware, and that led me to Juice Plus. I was speaking at a direct selling conference in LA, of all places, and I met Louise, who was one of the co-owners of the Juice Plus master distributor here, and the rest, they say, is history. So 13 years now I've been with Juice Plus, and I absolutely love it because I think it brings the marriage of health and wealth into one, which is what most people are looking for. And so I'm super excited. And I have to say, I am very excited to be working with you, Stuart. I think that the company is posed to really kind of step into something magic over this next 5 to 10 years. I think we're heading into an exciting, challenging times, but exciting times. I really do.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And from my perspective, knowing the two of you as I do, I think we're in some very, very exciting times, certainly in our region of the world, but globally as well. So to you both, thanks very much for sharing that. As you know, we sent out a bit of a flyer just asking for a couple of questions. So I have a couple of questions now. We've got 4 or 5, and then we might just wrap it all up at the end. Okay, so the first question I'm going to point out to you guys, this is more of a general one. As women in a global business, what areas do you find the most challenging?
Ooh,
you go first.
Starting with a zinger. You know, okay. There are a lot. You know, I think the global business part for me hasn't been challenging. It's for me, it's been sort of the transition from big corporate or hot entrepreneurial into direct sales. And so for me, that's been an interesting transition. The thing that's really good, but sometimes bad, is people have no filters here. They will tell you exactly what they think about anything at any time. It's so that's good and bad. So communication is very direct, and you know, I think that's a very positive sign of a good, healthy organization. That's something that honestly in business I feel like is either walked around or sort of caveated or politicized or not done. So that's been sort of it's not a challenge. Sometimes I find myself like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, we're going to talk about that. And so I think that's been great. But I do think another challenge is, I mean, COVID's been an immense challenge for anybody in leadership. It is so difficult to connect and lead, inspire, communicate, all the things that are necessary to get a successful outcome, because you're not necessarily together. And so, you know, that constant needing to fill the void that's created by lack of proximity has been a real big challenge. But I think we're coming out of that. But I think that's a universal thing.
Yes.
And I just think that, and the last thing I'd say is that you have to, in order to run a successful global business, you need scale and consistency, but you need localization and nuance and customization. And so trying to figure out the balance of those two things is really a good puzzle that every day is sort of a challenge to me. So that's what I would say. So Celine, I don't know if you agree with any of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I agree with all of it. I mean, you know, the last few years have taught us a lot in that, you know, again, we are very much in this industry, in this profession, and our beautiful company, we're very much a kind of, you know, a high touch type of company and industry. We like to be with people. And yes, we've had to navigate and we've had to decide, okay, you know what, we can't do that. How can we do what we're doing even better? And so I think a challenge is actually as we go forward from here, because I don't believe that the world is changing. I don't think that we're going to see suddenly a reversal back to what it was pre-COVID. No. I believe that what we've got to do now is go, how do we continue to adapt? How do we continue to be able to run maybe hybrid events or whatever? Or how do we also make sure that things like this, where we do online events, that they are interactive, they're things that people actually want to show up with, and we still get some component of the touch, the high touch in there. So I think that that's going to be a challenge for us, to be constantly looking at how can we innovate, and how can we innovate as a company around that. I think that's going to be important for us. The challenge that I notice, even in kind of growing up in this whole profession as well, is that, you know, our field is made up of, you know, 80% plus of women. And that's like right across our profession. That's actually nothing unusual on there. And yet, though, when it comes to representation of our profession, a lot of the time it's men. And again, there's nothing wrong there. I just want to continue and continue to raise up more women in those voices. Even right up to any of our representatives, the DSA boards and things like that. We're starting to see a little bit more, but again, continuing to be cheerleaders for women as we go up. And I think we do a great job within Juice Plus on that. But I think we can continue to grow and do that even better. I think that's going to be important as well, to be continuing to give that balanced voice as well. Guys, I know it's the lads' call. Definitely your voice is heard as well. But I also feel too that on the day-to-day, it's oftentimes those mums out there on the coalface speaking to the rest of the customers. And how do we get those voices back in? I want us to kind of really look at making sure that we're hearing what's actually going on out there all the time and not assuming that we know. So I think that's a challenge as well. How do we get the right information back so that there's that really, really productive two-way flow of information from corporate out and also from field back in. So they're the two main challenges.
I think is interesting about that is if I'm a guy in this business, sometimes I feel like I have to take second seat a little bit, just because there's so many women. So I find it really interesting that we still feel like we need to carry the message in, which I agree with you from women, but I also wonder, is there a better way for us to support the guys? Because there's so many tandem teams out there. And, I know I wouldn't be sitting where I am today. There's a 0% chance that I'd be here if my husband had not been sacrificing, listening to me complain, cry, whatever. I almost, you fill in the blank, running around with scissors. I mean, so I just think there's something really interesting about this industry where there's more equilibrium, actually, I think, between the power base between men and women. Everybody needs to get heard. So I totally agree with you. I think it's an interesting dynamic that I see.
Absolutely. And I laugh only because Mick's exactly, has been the same. I wouldn't be standing in this space without the support of him, the whole way through this career that we've had. And I've always looked at it as kind of like, even when I came to Juice Plus, when we were moving up here 6 years ago now, I kind of said, well, it's a 2-for-1 deal. You're getting both of us. If we're moving, you're getting both of us. And, Mick's been an absolute blessing to the business too, which is exciting. But yeah, I think that it's all wrapped up. There's so much that's in there. I think we do a really good job here within Juice Plus. I think we can do a better job there as a profession. So I think there's both those challenges.
Right. That was a pair of great answers, and I like the tandem teams. We do have some very successful tandem teams, particularly in Australia. And yes,
you guys are sort of famous for that, actually.
Well, there you go, Stuart. What can I tell you?
There you go.
You mentioned in between all of that, we had the COVID thing, and that leads us into the next question surrounding the supply chain issues. Now, we haven't necessarily been affected as such. Yes, it has touched us, but it hasn't been too bad. But the addition to that question is any problems with farmers, growers, and shipping. So I reckon that's possibly going to be a round table discussion there. But from your point of view, Stuart, from where you sit, what do you see as issues currently where you are at?
Yeah, I mean, so isn't COVID interesting, because boy, did it quickly show the cracks in our global supply chain. Even people, I mean, like, I think I've said this to Celine, my Amazon was late. I thought the world was ending. I mean, if Amazon's late, there were all this, like, it's just apocalyptic. I didn't know what to do with myself. Yes, absolutely. We've seen it. So the supply chain in the macro, moving goods from point A to point B, is hugely in need of a revamp. We've got containers sitting on coasts forever, crossing the seas. I ordered furniture for 2 chairs over 18 months ago. I'm still waiting for them. I mean, it makes us realize how reliant we are on what was the norm, and we're going to have to redefine the norm. For our farmers, it is in a very important time, because there's an opportunity to support the farmers and the growers closer to the source, which is what we do here in the US. And I actually think there may be, if we fast forward a couple of years, a resurgence for local and farmers and growers, because they don't necessarily have to worry about getting something on a container ship to get it to your grocery store or to get it into your capsule. So I think we have incredible partnerships with our farmers and our growers. They are very unsung heroes in the world, I think, but I believe they have the ability to really kind of reposition themselves in the supply chain. But we've seen cost increases, we've seen delays, you name it, it's crossed our desk, but we've been juggling the balls pretty effectively, I think. But Celine, I'm sure you guys are seeing the same thing. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, look, the same. I mean, I think it's constantly, what we've learned is you've got to be even more across it than what we've ever been before. You kind of took it for granted that, you, for example, you might place an order and you kind of go, it's going to arrive. Whereas now you've actually got to think about it. So, you've got to, even for down to our customers, I think there's opportunities for our partners who are going to be watching this to really think about how are you best looking after your customers, because, a product that might have got to them in 2 or 3 days now may actually take a week, 10 days, 2 weeks to get there through no fault of anybody. It gets into the supply chain, but then it gets held up. So I think we actually need to be thinking even better about how do we best serve people right from that point of sale, thinking about, managing people's expectations around when it might get there. And even, thinking about, oftentimes we have our reminders, okay, the order's placed, all right, in 3 days time, emergency has arrived yet. Well, in 3 days, it's probably not going to be there now. So, even just looking at some of those things that we need to do, and corporately as well, some of those emails that we send out are not going to be relevant. So we're looking at all of those pieces. I do want to say a huge thank you to Mick and the warehouse team, the logistics and that, because I know we have had challenges, with deliveries coming in, making sure that we're managing stock, sometimes down to nearly the last carton, to be able to make sure that it's not, but you know what, and knocking on the doors and working in collaboration with our global team as well to be onto the suppliers and finding out where things are. So I really feel that with for all of our partners and customers, they can have confidence that we are doing everything we possibly can to make sure that we are learning what this new world is throwing up at us. And then we're constantly improving and going, what can we do differently? And how can we look at this differently? And to your point, I mean, Stuart, I know that we've had conversations about what it might look like in the new world as to, manufacturing around the world and all sorts of different things as well. So there's lots of stuff that we're looking at. So have confidence that we definitely are thinking about all of the little pieces, right down to where is it grown? How does it get into a capsule and how does it get to you?
Yeah, I love the service aspect that you refine, because it is about service. And, it's interesting. The other kind of silver lining potentially, if we get it right, when we get it right, is sustainability. We can get rid of a lot of traffic miles, however it gets there, air miles, sea miles, road miles, by putting things closer to where they originate from and where they finish. So in a way, the kind of breaking of the global supply chain may make us force some decisions that, in my opinion, probably need to be addressed sooner rather than later. So there may be another opportunity there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And again, a couple of great answers. And again, certainly my thanks to you, Stuart, and the team in Memphis, because it has been challenging. There's no doubt about that. The last 12 to 18 months, we work with some really switched on, clued up people locally in terms of shipping agents, but also in the US and Europe. And, touch wood, everything has worked out well so far. And so please be confident of supply chain. If I have to go and get it myself, I will.
Okay, deal.
Moving on from that. Somebody's given us a question about a new product, and it says, when will the new product plus be available in the Australian New Zealand market? So I'll let you two fight over that.
Okay, ready? Celine, I'll let you go first. How about that? You go first.
Look, I know everybody gets so excited. You see a product come out and you wonder, why can't we all have it at exactly the same time? And, one of the things that we have as a beautiful company is that we do want to make sure that our products are registered and everything that we need to do correctly in whatever country we go into. And so sometimes that takes a bit of a process. But I can tell you with regards to Perform, we are in the mix. I've been following up with some of our team. And I'm really hoping, I've got fingers and toes crossed, that we will have that in time for our conference mid-year. year. So that's what I'm looking at. But Stuart, I know that you are just passionate about, you know what, over the next 3 to 5 years, continuing to kind of, our mission, of course, is to be the #1 direct selling company in plant-based nutrition by 2025.
Yep.
And I know that we will be. So kind of, do you want to hint at how that might be happening as well?
Yeah, I mean, so it just means, just at the top line, we have to be in more places, so more geographies with more people. So we need more customers and partners more often. So frequency, and frequency can be tied to subscriptions. It can be tied to innovation. You know, we have an amazing product now, amazing system, but I always say it's the best kept secret. So, you know, we need to take what we have in our capsules and our other lineup and really spread that out, Tower Garden included. But, you know, we probably need some new stuff. I mean, high protein and perform is a good extension of the complete line. We might need some new flavors to complete, but, you know, health is driven by holistic health, and, you know, plant-based health is from the inside out, but it can be also be from the outside in. So I have a lot of interest about, you know, potentially looking at serums, potentially looking at other, you know, extensions in capsules. You know, how can Omega be more sophisticated in its offerings? Can we get some more health claims? So everything's going to be plant-based. Everything's going to be backed by clinical research. Everything's going to, you know, be platinum level, the Juice Plus standard, you know, non-GMO, all those things. But I do think there's an opportunity for us to give our partners more stuff to sell, because it's really hard. You have to be really creative to sell the same thing every day. And so I think innovation and expansion is very important. So more to come there. Yes.
So it's exciting, guys. So, you know, watch this space over the next few years, because, you know, again, it's not today or tomorrow. So I don't want a phone call tomorrow to say,
yeah,
okay,
don't
so
call her tomorrow.
When was that coming? So yeah, but know that with Stuart leading us, there's some great vision and thought around what else can we bring to the table. So yeah, watch this space. Back to you, Mick.
Those are very comprehensive answer, and you've just reeled out the fishing line there to see if you can hook some people in. So if you do get calls and emails, it's your fault entirely.
Okay, yeah, don't call me. Call these two. Call your local Juice Plus company.
So it leads us to the last question, because I think we've done well. And really, you know, this is both of you can answer you for your own separate region. So again, Stuart, I'll throw it over to you. So where do you see our company in 2 to 5 years? I know Celine said 2025, #1 plant-based business on the planet, and that's around the corner. But where do you see that? And then even beyond that, what's your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean tactically? I mean, it sounds really great on a plaque, right? But the innards are important. So, you know, we're going to need to be in greater 30 plus markets around the world, which is a big, you know, bump from where we are today. We're going to really need to double the number of, you know, active partners. And what I call active partners, those are people that are in the business, working the business, whether placing orders and are building teams and are both. And, you know, we really need, and that is through all ranks. It's not just exclusively about the top. It is just as important, actually, maybe more important, about the beginning of the journey. And those, you know, we need people to bring their networks too. So our customer base is very small for the size business we have. I think if we could double or triple it, which is not out of the realm of possibility, that, you know, it's a huge catalyst. And then maybe 1 or 2, you know, new products and maybe 1 new lineup. But all of those things need to happen while we protect and nourish what we have today, which is amazing. So it's about, you know, taking what we have today and making sure it's rock solid. People are happy. They feel rewarded. They feel seen. Health and wealth, as Celine said. And then bringing some more places and some more stuff and some more people into the fold. But it has to happen. We're a little bit behind course right now. It's been a tough sort of recovery out of COVID, as people have been, I actually say, released to the wild to live their life. It's about, you know, we need to sort of speed up the course towards 2025. And I'm hoping that once we sort of get to the new normal and we can get to an endemic stage of this pandemic, that we can start to see some momentum. So that's what I see from my seat, but I'm sure in y'all's markets, it's something, probably a subset of that.
Yeah.
Talk about your
Very
moonshots. I want to hear about the moonshot.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, look, very similar really, because at the end of the day, we have set up our moonshot teams where we are, we're shooting for the moon and beyond, and it's just great. Internally here, we've got different moonshot teams that are coming up with some great ideas around, innovation, how we can best serve our partners and our customers, and a number of other things to do internally. And then, of course, partnering with our whole kind of, partner base. What we're looking at, our motto this year is what's the best that can happen, and that is to bring us right into this next 3 to 5. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at the whole time, is what is the best that can happen in every aspect, because what we can all focus on the worst. We can all focus on, what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. So we're looking at what's the best that can happen. And from there, what we're seeing for our market here, 1,000 unique qualified businesses. Well, what does that mean?
Wow.
That means exactly what Stuart said. More customers.
I'm writing that down.
More partners. You're writing it down. Okay.
Oh,
right. We're going to be tracked and measured, okay, from the big boss. Yep. So absolutely. But that's what it means. It links back in. What does a qualified business mean? It means that you're impacting more families. Yep. If you were to do that yourself, you'd have around about, say, 16 to 17 unique customers that are maybe eating a premium pack, say, every 4 months or whatever like that, adding that into their diet. It means that you're helping more families' health statistics change through our products and programs. It means that, you yourself are getting to be able to say yes to more because of that regular income coming in, because you've got that customer base that's developing for you. So 1,000 unique qualified businesses sees us over this next 3 to 5 years again do exactly the same thing, double if not triple our business here, which goes a long way then to us being able to contribute to the global goal as well of being the number one. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've already got it on my phone. It's my holding slide. You can't really see it. I cracked my phone the other day, but I've got it on my phone. Number one global, number one direct selling company in plant-based nutrition by 2025. That's what I look at every single morning. And I know that how we do that here from our part, Australia and New Zealand, is to work on partnering with all of you guys to create those 1,000 unique qualified businesses. So together, I know we're going to be really making some magic happen, Stuart.
No question. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get down there to see you guys. And two of my favorite places on the earth, Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, no, we can't wait to be able to have you.
With that, I want to thank you both very much. You're both very busy people. You present very well. You do a great job. Lads, this is the future of the business. If you're not sure, go and find and talk to somebody else. But you've got two strong, visionary, vibrant, successful women leading the charge. And I've no doubt the future will be fantastic. So to everybody who's watching, thank you very much. And have a great evening and stay well.